Hi, it's Chris with Implied Music. We know that even a simple melody can be enriched with good orchestration and chord harmonies, but it's hard to figure out what to do sometimes. I thought we'd take a look at Danny Boy or Londonderry Air or whatever you want to call this old Irish melody today. It's a diatonic melody, and we're going to look at it in the key of F. So I'm going to remind you about the chords in F. No big deal. So here's our F scale. And the primary chords are F, B flat, and C. Those three chords contain all of the notes of the scale and are the three major chords in the scale. And the truth is, every one of those scale tones can be harmonized by one or another, sometimes two, of those chords. I'm going to do it slowly, but follow along. So I'm going to harmonize the first note, F, with an F chord underneath. The second chord, G, with a C chord underneath. The A gets harmonized by an F chord underneath, and you see the F chord is inverted. When it's time for the B flat, it's a B flat chord and it's inverted. Time for another F chord. You can see the C is on top, that's the melodic tone. When I get to the D, I invert the B flat chord. When I get to the E, I invert the C chord. And when I get to the F, I invert the F chord. Well, we're going to use this approach to harmonize the melody to Danny Boy. Here's the melody, and I've actually just played bass notes underneath, so it's easy to visualize what the sort of chord is. The one chord F. The four chord B flat major. Back to the one chord. And then there's the five chord. You know, we could play the whole thing for you, but I want to keep this manageable. So let's look at how I harmonized each of those melodic tones. Okay, I hope this doesn't look like hash to you, but let's listen. So what we've got here are the melody on the top with chord tones underneath. Let's just listen. Very plain sounding, quantized, kind of brutal. Now remember, we had 1, 4, 1, 5, but we're going to use other triads from the scale as the melody changes, because why not? All right, the first melodic tone is E, and if you can see underneath it, it's a C chord. The next melodic tone is F, and underneath it is a B flat chord. The next melodic tone is a G, and underneath it, a C chord. I've gone C, B flat, C, and where am I heading? To F. The very first beat and a half, three different chords. And there, this is interesting, that's a B flat, a D, and a G. I've decided to harmonize that with the 2 chord, 2 minor. The 2 works great as a passing chord, especially when you have a major chord just below it in this case. Pick it up. And there, those are all primary chords. Again, all primary chords. Now that wouldn't sound great in orchestra because all those notes are within the range of an octave. You can do it on your hand easily, but an orchestra wants to have things spread out. So let's look at this next chunk. I've done something called drop two. I grabbed the middle note out of each of those three and just flipped it down an octave. Listen to how much more elegant this sounds. Well, you probably remember we were talking last week about sixths. All sixths sound good. Sixths are inversions of thirds. And of course, there are plenty of thirds and fourths in that first arrangement. But look at the beautiful result we got here. There are so many sixths. The sixth on top there. If just looking at it visually, you can identify stacks of sixths. For instance, right here, that's 2 sixths, one on top of the other. You get a sweeter sound with sixths. If you give them to winds and strings, you're going to get a great result. All right, this is sort of step one in harmonizing melody. This is a diatonic melody that we've harmonized with diatonic chords. All of the melodic tones are from the scale. All of the chord tones and chord qualities are from the scale. As it happens, Londonderry Air or Danny Boy or Would God I Were Thee, Tender Apple Blossom, all of these titles are the title of this famous old Irish melody, has a couple of secondary dominants in it, possibly, and we could also add surprise chords. This is level one. I think I'm going to come back and do a couple more levels of this terrific melody. My mother reports that when I was a child, she could reliably make me cry by singing this to me. I hope this hasn't made you cry. I hope it was useful. This is step one. Let's follow up with step two and then maybe step three. Simple melodies are great to work on your harmonization skills with, right? I think so. Well, like and subscribe. Come back. We're going to visit some more of this. And I'll see you next time.